Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Vishal Sharma. I am principal of Metanoia Inc. and owner and moderator of the Carry Ethernet Group. And Metanoia Inc., as many of you know, is a niche consultancy based in Silicon Valley. And we work with executive and engineering management at companies all across the telecom and networking ecosystem. And the Carry Ethernet Group is a collection of almost 10,000 professionals from 123 countries and 2,236 companies across the globe that are focused on discussions of, as we call it, the business strategy and technology of modern packet networking, but really it's all about Carry Ethernet and allied technologies. Now, the purpose of this video is to provide a quick primer for both members who are joining the group new and for existing members so that people have an idea of what the Carry Ethernet group is all about, how they can make best use of the resources and capabilities that are available in the group, and also to make you familiar with some new changes and new features that we're introducing in the group. So with this objective, I'm going to cover 4 things in this video. Number 1, the group structure and the group summary and rules and how you can sort of navigate in and around the group. The second is something which we call the notion of channels and the types of channels, the rules that govern the various channels that we've defined in the group, and the basics of how do you work with channels. And I'll reveal that later in the video when we talk about it. Then the third is the resources that are available to every member of our group. And there are actually many resources available that members may not immediately realize, and I want to make you aware of that. And finally is to have make you familiar with a unique feature that we've introduced, which is our group membership certificate and membership card, as well as the ability to create an automated email signature that allows you to proudly demonstrate your membership in this fine group of professionals and peers from all across the globe. So what my hope is that it'll give you an excellent idea of what the group is all about and how to make best use of it. So let's get started right away. And let me start by showing you the first of the 4 things that I spoke about, which is how to navigate in the group and what the group is all about. So as you see here, I have showed you the group which is currently housed on LinkedIn. And when you first enter the group, you're going to see the group logo on the top left side, and here's the title of the group. And I am the manager, so therefore there's a manage tab which the users, you as users may not see. And essentially there are 2 parts to the main group feed. One is the set of articles that have been posted in reverse chronological order that show up on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side is some information about the group, and that's made up of 3 things. One is information about the group, which is basically a description of the group, what we are all about, what kind of membership we have, the demographics and so forth. So in a nutshell, as you know, we are sort of the definitive group that focuses on deep dive technology, strategy, and business aspects of packet networking as they relate to Carry Ethernet and allied technologies. And we serve a very wide spectrum of professionals ranging from executives to all levels of involvement, right down to the operations, architects, engineers, product management, product marketing, and people who are actually deploying things in the field, either on the system side or on the operator side. And we say that we are designed for organizations that specify, design, build, deploy, manage, analyze, and strategize about advanced networking today. And so the focus of the group is to track the latest developments in telecommunications and networking, as you might imagine, engage everyone in sort of useful, knowledge-enhancing dialogue and interaction that is sort of the core value of the group. And then we deep dive into a number of specific technologies: Carrier Ethernet, IP MPLS, VPNs, lately SDN NFV, data center, cloud, virtualization, and so forth. Not to forget video delivery, mobile wireless, and all of the challenges that come with that. And of course, we are also focused on exchanging best practices for running and managing all kinds of networks, from small ISPs to MSOs to wireless operators to over-the-top operators, cloud operators, and of course, the telco carriers. Now, the important part of the description is that there is here a reference to all of the key things I'm going to talk about in this video today. So if you wanted to understand more about the group's channels, you could follow this link and learn about them and the rules that govern them. If you want to know what are the resources that are available to you as a member, then this is a link to follow, number 2 on the list. If you'd like to understand about membership and certificates and how to create an email signature that displays your membership proudly, then this is a link to follow. And of course, our membership comes from a wide variety of companies across the telecom ecosystem and all kinds of organizations, from students and academics to analysts, university groups, media groups, and so forth. So that's the first part you're going to see here. The next thing, and you can of course minimize that, the next thing are the group rules, which show up in a pop-up window here like I'm showing you now. And I'm not going to go through all the rules. You can read them when you actually become part of the group. But fundamentally, we are all about sharing, interaction, discussion, and debate in an atmosphere that is cooperative, has a lot of give and take, friendly banter, a lot of debate and disagreement, of course, but all in a very professional and accommodating environment. Whether you're a newcomer to the Carrier Ethernet space or you're an established veteran, everybody is welcome, and all kinds of membership members have been seen here helping each other out. Couple key things, of course: no spamming, no direct sales, topical discussions on all kinds of issues, from systems to chips to software to networks to switching and so forth. And there's no job postings allowed either, and no recruiters are allowed on the group. Job postings are only allowed under one circumstance, which is when some senior member of the group who's hiring directly into their own company or their own group within the company wishes to post a job announcement, and that's few and far between. So these are the group rules. The third thing you'll see on the left and right hand side is something with the membership, which tells you how many total members there are. And when you click on that, you go to a different page which gives you the actual listing of the members. Now, unfortunately, LinkedIn removed the ability to search the membership, so you have to kind of keep scrolling down to see who all are members of the group. And how many members you'll see is a function of what LinkedIn decides to show you at a given point in time, typically a few hundred members at a time. Now, the other thing is, if you are navigating anywhere in the group and you want to get back to the home page, so-called, where all the group feeds are, you click on the bright Carrier Ethernet logo on the left, and you're right back to where you started. And on the left-hand side, you can see all of the various discussions that have been posted in reverse chronological order by the members of the group. And below each of them, you'll see some indication of how many people like them, how many comments there are. So if you want to go join any of them, you can click on a specific discussion, get to the page for that discussion, scroll down and add your comments or read other people's comments. And then to get back, you come right back again. So that's a quick introduction to the group as a whole. The next thing I'd like to talk about is, again, talk about the notion of channels, what they mean, why we introduced them, and how they work. So let me quickly do a swap of the screens and take you through the channel page that I have already got open and walk you through that. So the notion of channels, folks, is the following: that we decided that instead of having all the discussions coming to the group all at the same time, we would like to segregate discussions by topics. And the way we would do that is we invented what's called a short channel code that you can see here. We have 6 channels currently active, and these have been decided based upon the nature of the discussions we've seen coming in the group over the last year and a half. My own survey, a formal survey of the members of the group, a number of different discussions with different members of the group from all across the world, and of course some serious discussion with several senior members who are active participants in the group. So we've amalgamated all of that knowledge base and decided that these are the 6 channels that make sense right now. And let me quickly walk you through the channels. So the first channel is called the tech channel, which is basically for technical questions and solutions. And it's for discussions of all kinds of questions that relate to Carrier Ethernet technology, to the MEF standards, to CECP certification, to actually the equipment and services certification that the MEF has, and all other technical questions regarding the operation of the technology that goes behind Carrier Ethernet. And then the second channel is the ARC channel, called the Network Architecture and Design, which is designed for discussions of all kinds of design issues and network design issues, best practices, issues as they relate to specific network build-outs that different architects or professional services that vendors are doing, and so forth. And then, of course, no real discussion of packet networking today is complete without talking about sort of virtualization and the cloud. Therefore, we have the cloud and virtual networking channel, which stands for software-defined infrastructure, or SDX. And in that, we include discussions around cloud, SDN, NFV, virtualization, and data centers. The news channel is pretty self-explanatory. All kinds of industry announcements, developments, and Carrier Ethernet news feature in the news channel. And the events channel, as the name suggests, is for all of the different events that happen in our industry today. So all the posts about conferences, webinars, hangouts, teleseminars, meetings, meetups, and the like to be on this channel. And finally, we have something called the knowledge channel, which is designed for all those posts that are basically focused on increasing the knowledge of the members and packet networking technologies, carrier Ethernet, and allied technologies, or any discussions that don't fit in the 5 channels that we've defined above. So those are the 6 channels. And now the question is, how do we actually functionally use these channels? And the way we use them is actually defined by the group rules that apply to all 6 of these channels. So let me walk you through those first. So fundamentally, as you can see, each channel is designated by a short code that is being given here in square brackets. And it's this short code that must be inserted as the very first thing on the subject line of a new post that is intended for that specific channel. So if you wanted to post for the SDX channel, you'd put the square bracket SDX, close square bracket, then the subject line of your post, and then of course the body of your post. So the advantage of this is that once you do that, using the search capability on the main homepage, which I'll show you in a few minutes, you could actually search with that short code or channel code and bring up all the discussions that pertain to a specific channel. So now if posts don't include a channel code, or if they have an incorrect channel code, it's going to lead to the quarantining of your post, or most probably the deletion of the post, because quarantining is kind of tough in the way LinkedIn gives capabilities in the hands of the group moderators and the channel moderators. So the only option that we have in most of the cases is to remove the post. And therefore, what we request members to do is that they keep an eye out for their posts when they post them to the group. Typically, the post should show up immediately. If it doesn't show up, or if you find that it showed up and then was removed, you know for a fact that it was acted upon by one of the group moderators or the channel moderators. And in that case, please come back to us, send us the post, and find out what went wrong with it, and we'll be able to give you feedback. You take that feedback, you correct the post, and you repost it, and you're good to go. And similarly, if there are errors with the post, that it ended up in the wrong channel, it was incorrectly classified or off topic, it'll be given similar treatment. Now, as far as possible, it'll be our attempt as group managers and channel managers and moderators to get back to every member whose post has somehow been removed and needs more attention from the member. But sometimes LinkedIn is very restrictive. They do not give us the ability to direct message you, or the numbers of direct messages are very small per month. So we may not always have the luxury of getting back to you. Therefore, we request members to be more vigilant and come back to us finding out, hey, my post didn't show up. What happened, Vishal? Or what happened, one of the other channel managers, and then we'll be able to explain to you. So therefore, as you could guess, it's a recommendation that you always please keep a copy of the post that you submit to the group with you, so that if there is an issue with the post, and if needed, you can easily make changes to it and then repost it in the right way and into the right channel. Now, let me emphasize here that LinkedIn by itself does not really provide a way for you to just simply see the posts of one given channel. You will see all of the channels in the group feed that I showed you at the beginning of the video. What you can do, however, is, and let me actually go back and do that, because I think that's the best way to demonstrate what I'm talking about. So what you can do is you can use the search capability on the group main page. So here we are back again to the main page. And as you can see, there's a search bar at the top right. Let's say you wanted, since we don't have the channels right now, let's say I type the word 5G and I search with that and see what comes up. You'll see what comes up are all of the discussions that have 5G either in the title or in the body of the message. And I know for a fact that there are a couple of discussions related to 5G that were recently posted. So I knew that something's going to come up. And as you can see here, what the search term is shown in the search window, which you can clean by clicking this X, and then you can search with something else, let's say NFV. And if we did that, then you'll bring up all the discussions that have NFV in the window. Now, one thing important to point out is that this is the only interface in which the carrier Ethernet logo itself doesn't show up. So then you might wonder, well, how do I get back to the main page of the forum? And the way you do that is you are given this title of the forum here. Once you click on that, you come back to the familiar main page or the group feed. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So now let me take you guys back again to the discussion we were having about channels, and show you again, talk more about what we expect to have happen with channels. So coming back here, as I said, channels are not something that are inherent to LinkedIn. It's something that we have created in this group for the benefit of everyone, to allow segregation of discussions into different categories and to allow people to easily search them and not be overwhelmed by all of the various different discussions that are happening in parallel on the group. And by using the search tab and searching in the way I just showed you, if you typed in the channel code ARCH, you'd get all the discussions that relate to ARC as soon as we start implementing that. So those are sort of the general channel rules. Then for the two channels, Tech and ARC, we've actually created two specific rules. And the reason for that is that Tech and ARC are two channels where you want to explicitly encourage a lot of interaction, a lot of peer discussion, and a lot of the ability of people to be able to ask questions of their colleagues all across the globe and get real answers to operational and technical issues. Therefore, for Tech and ARC, the subject line of every post can only be in the form of a question. That means that you have to tell your fellow group members what it is that you're really seeking an answer to. And the second sort of rule is that a new post cannot have a hyperlink in the subject line. So subject line has to be a question and it cannot have a hyperlink. Instead, you can use the body of the post to provide more context, to give references. Maybe you want to reference a white paper, or you want to reference a configuration document, or you want to reference a data sheet, or one of many other technical documents, or a standard, and you do that in the body of the post. So the body of the post and the responses to the post can have links and hyperlinks and other pointers, but the subject line itself cannot have that. Now, for most of the other channels, for example, for SDX, news, events, and knowledge, they're pretty self-explanatory, so there's really nothing special needed. But we thought it was useful to at least specify a little bit in more detail what the Tech and ARC channels are all about. So that's the description you see here. I'm not going to read it line by line, but basically standards, protocols, different kinds of supporting technologies, network management, network resilience, protection, restoration are all the subjects of the Tech channel. And in the network architecture and design channel, we are hoping that people will share experiences about real life challenges in network design or specific use cases as they come up when you're designing networks with a given subset of technologies, or you're creating networks for specific verticals, oil and gas, financials, healthcare, retail, and so forth, or you're seeking specific inputs from your peers where you're not clear on what the path is, and it's always you feel it's better to get an opinion from a number of other architects or other people in the ecosystem. It doesn't have to be architects necessarily, and you post a question for that. So this is the channel-based platform that is designed to have discussions on a wide variety of subjects, and our hope is that by doing that, it'll make the group a lot easier for everyone to use and a lot more interesting by having discussions in these two specific channels. So that's the second point I want to talk about. The next thing I'd like to highlight for everyone are the number of resources that are available to all of our members and how actually to make use of them. So let me quickly switch over to that and then share that with you so I can walk you through that. So actually, it turns out that there's a blog post that we've created, which is the home for a listing of all the resources that are currently available, and also some very interesting additional materials that people can use to learn a lot about Carrier Ethernet and what has been happening in the group in the past. So let me talk about the resources first. There are actually 9 different things that are available to group members that people may not always be aware of. The first is, of course, you can just read the group discussions and you can learn a lot from them. That's the most obvious one. The other is you can participate in discussions by posting your comments, sharing your knowledge. That, of course, showcases your knowledge, helps somebody else learn from your knowledge, and at the same time helps you become a better expert. So that's the second way you can participate. The third is to post a discussion of your own to the group about an issue or problem that you're facing, whether you're coming from the vendor side, the chip side, the ASIC side, or the service provider or cloud networking side. And the idea is to get input from your peers. This, in fact, is by far the most useful way to both give back and learn from a fantastic group such as the one that we have. And then every so often, every few weeks or so, you'll get email summaries from me, the group manager, that summarize the key things that happen in the group and that give you typically a mind map which organizes logically all of the discussions by category and subcategory. And in one click, you can access not only the discussions, but also maybe other resources and references that I put in there. So one important point I'd like to make is that you must go into your group profile, the group settings page, and make sure that you have turned on the ability to receive emails from the group manager. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on all of these resources. And LinkedIn periodically, if you don't open that email for a couple of weeks, is actually going to automatically turn that email to you off. So if you see that you were getting emails from the group manager, namely myself, group owner, and then suddenly you're not, that tells you that maybe you didn't open emails for a while, things got busy, or they were not of immediate interest, and LinkedIn decided that you're not interested and they don't want to spam you. So please keep that fact in mind. Remember that emails are being sent out every 2 to 3 weeks in the group, and if you're not getting them, you need to go change your options, or simply write to me or one of the other moderators and find out if we've stopped sending emails, or is it that you're just not getting them. And then, of course, as I said, the mind maps of discussions are very handy references that we've been sharing over the last better part of 2015 and this year. So that's something that's kind of becoming a regular part of what we do. And then in addition to that, as you learn more about it, we have these CE Live broadcasts, kind of what I'm doing as I'm recording this video. But the CE Lives are actually live events where members of the group that have participated in useful technical discussions are invited, and we've had guests from Europe, Switzerland, from Sweden, South Africa, Australia, Malaysia, you name it, and of course the US and North America. And we have a discussion about specific topics of very technical nature, completely no holds barred, no BS, and we also discuss. I present a summary of the previous sort of periods, discussions and topics that happened on the group. And then the other part of our CE Lives is network architecture and design series videos, where we'll take one topic, for example, policing in the new MEF standards, and talk about that in detail, because maybe that was a question that came up in the group. It either got partially resolved or got fully resolved, but then it needs to be summarized somewhere. Otherwise, the community at large has no access to that, especially with groups now being made closed. There's no ability for somebody searching on a Google, for example, to even know that some of such valuable information is locked up in this group. So that's our attempt to actually give back more to the community, make this knowledge widely available, and of course, learn ourselves in the process of doing the CE Lives and summarizing everything. Then the private messaging feature is available. People often forget that. That's a great way to connect with group members if you have specific questions. It's also a great way to write to us group managers, although our emails and contact information is pretty public, and ask us for help. Maybe sometimes you need help in deciding a channel to which your post needs to go, or in formulating your post or a question, or in finding out if that would be the right way to do it. And we're always here to help you out with that. And finally, you always have, as part of the group, pointers to a lot of industry events, conferences, and workshops, because A, we have a lot of members from all across the world that are looking at it and interested in it, and B, because we have partnerships with a number of leading organizations in the industry, most notably with the Telecom Council of Silicon Valley, with the Metro Internet Forum, with a number of big conference organizers like Informa Telecoms and Media and Layer 123 that have some of the leading conferences in the industry, and therefore you get to learn about them. Sometimes we have discounted ability to get discounted registrations and so forth. So these are 9 key resources or 9 key ways you can actually use the group to your own benefit and literally make use of every single capability that we are that is available as part of our group today. And then here at the bottom of this blog post is a listing of all the interesting materials that we've created that give a lot of good information to our group members, both new and senior members, and at the same time give you a lot of information about the industry. So, example, there are some representative CE Lives that you can go check out. There are some representative weekly roundups you can go check out. There's some evergreen posts on Carrier Ethernet that are available. There are discussions from the past 2 or 3 years that were compiled by us that you can go check out. And you can also see a paper that we wrote that came out of collaboration of all the members in the group. I believe this is the first on a LinkedIn group. This shows up on the MEF's Ethernet Academy website. And finally, there's some very classical blog posts I wrote 3 years back about the MEF CECP exam and my hypothesis or sort of contention that the number of CECP will grow with time, and they should grow very substantially, because when I wrote the post, there were only a couple of hundred CECPs. So today there are 4,000 plus CECPs, and my belief still is that we need many, many more, because many parts of the ecosystem all the way from designers of chips to designers of networks to designers of systems, and all up from there, can benefit tremendously by learning about the mesh standards and having a common language to talk about them. So these are all the resources that I had promised to talk to you about. And the next thing I'd like to talk about is a very unique capability we've introduced in the group, namely our membership certificate and our membership card. So starting with this month, we're going to make sure that every member joining our group is given a membership certificate that looks like this, with your name on it, and the date you joined or the week that you joined. And this is something that members can proudly announce and display anywhere and everywhere that they want. That's basically letting people know the fact that they are part of this very nice, very inclusive, and very special in some ways group. And to go with that, we've introduced a membership card that looks like this. There's also something that we will send to every new member and also all our existing members that will have your year of membership and when you join. And as time goes on, we expect that this membership card can be the handy portable card that gives you access to special things at industry conferences that you might attend that are being held by our partners, or gives you special privileges or discounts at many of the industry events as time goes on. And now, of course, the main question is, how do you get access to these? Well, the only way for you to do that today, my friends, is to fill out the form that I've created for you to give me your contact information and email. And that form is a Google form that looks like this, which is all linked from these blog posts. And by the way, I forgot to say that earlier, but all of these posts are referenced both in the About the Group description that you find on the group main page, and they are there in the welcome email that every single new member receives the moment they join the group. So the reason you need to do that is that LinkedIn restricts considerably the ability of members to direct message other members. As you know, the limit is 15 members a month now, and we have 10,000 members in the group. So friends, you can do the math as to how many years. I think the last count I did, it was like 70 some years it would take me to get the message out to every one of you. So clearly that's not a scalable approach. What we're going to do instead is have you fill out this form, and once every week we're going to collate all of the requests that we received, and boom, we're going to push out your certificate and your membership certificate and membership card, so that you get them and then you can proudly use them and display them as you see fit. And the last thing I want to talk about is this ability to actually create an email signature, which is going to look like this. So here I've shown you mine, which has my company logo, my contact information, then the Carrier Ethernet logo and how I'm affiliated with that, and of course the IEEE logo, ComSoc, because I'm a volunteer there as well. And in an associated post, I have given you full details of how you can create a signature like this for yourself and use it in any email program. And let me quickly walk you through that. So I'm not going to go through all the details, but this particular post, which is also linked to and referenced in both your, it is referenced in the earlier post from which I just jumped here. And so you're going to find that in the About the Group and in the email, welcome email that everybody gets. Using the instructions in this post, you can actually create a signature that looks exactly like this. So you'll have your own company logo and your own name and contact information, but below it would be the Carrier Ethernet Group logo and tells how you're affiliated with the group and has a pointer to the group. And this post and the associated Word document gives you all of the information that you need to create a signature exactly like this for yourself. In fact, you can simply take that Word doc, use that as a reference template, and just change everything in that, and boom, you have a signature that's ready to use in any email program. So with that, I've covered all of the 4 things that I wanted to cover in this video. And so I hope that this has been very helpful, and this is going to be an archival video that every one of our members, both old and new, can use at any time to kind of familiarize themselves with what is available in our wonderful group, and going to make use of all the resources if you have been using them or you've just forgotten that all of these are available. So once again, I welcome you to the Carrier Ethernet group. It's a real pleasure to have you here. Every single one of the 10,000 members for me is a very special member of this networking community, which is very big but yet very small. So I hope you'll have a wonderful time on the group. You'll interact with colleagues from all across the world, 123 countries in fact. You will form friendships. You will discuss, debate, and disagree. And at the same time, You will share your own knowledge, build your own expertise, advance your own professional career, at the same time advancing the careers of all of the colleagues, 10,000 colleagues that we have on the group, and help the group go from strength to strength. And then, as I always say at the end of all my videos, until next time, may the bits in your bytes and the bytes in your packets be profitable. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.